With the parliament dissolved to make way for GE15, what was the point of tabling Budget 2023 in the first place? Hi, I'm Frankie. Welcome back to my fuck show, Frankie Answers Questions. Political agenda aside, it was a smart move to allow the Minister of Finance to table the Budget 2023 as planned. From an investor's perspective, even though it doesn't mean much anymore without a functioning government until we have voted for a new one, the budget still serves as an important document to get a sense of direction for the stock market in 2023. Even if BN didn't win GE15, any political coalition that forms the new government can still use the existing Budget 2023 as a reference to table their version of a new budget. Oh yeah! Question 1. What's so special about Budget 2023 that investors need to look out for it? For the first time in history, we are talking about a 95 billion ringgit allocation, the biggest allocation for development expenditure in Malaysia. Previously, in Budget 2021, the allocation for development expenditure was only 64 billion ringgit. So, Budget 2023's development allocation is a 48% increase from 2 years ago. But back to the actual developments. They aren't going to take place by the government itself because the government is a body that only looks at crafting policies and making plans. So, ultimately, it relies on corporations that are expert in specific industry to develop the country based on the government's plan and allocated budget. These may be by giving out contracts to certain corporations, which in turn will affect the stock prices of those companies if they are listed. Money. Number 2. What is development expenditure? Development expenditures refers to the spending of the governments which helps in economic development of the country. In Malaysia, development expenditure is split into 4 main categories, namely economic spending, social spending, security spending, and general administrative costs. Each of these categories can be further subdivided into different areas like this. As you can see, the government allocates a very big amount of budget for the transport segment every year. This is understandable because the money spent is easily measurable by the output, such as a new highway or a new MRT line, and they often create a multiplier effect to the economy as well. Question 3. Which industry is going to benefit the most from the Budget 2023? Construction. Some people may argue that there are no surprises in the construction sector because most of the mega projects are already known in the market, such as the Pan-Borneo Highway, the RTS Link, ECRL, and all that. Given construction stocks prices are very much driven by news flow, these old projects are unlikely to move the needle. They are right to a certain extent. After all, the transport segment is the one that is getting the lion's share of the budget. But it is also important to look at other industries to find clues as well. For example, it was mentioned that 11.4 billion ringgit is allocated to prioritize the repair and maintenance of assets, including federal roads and government buildings. 1.2 billion ringgit to upgrade schools in East Malaysia, 1.8 billion ringgit to build new healthcare facilities, and the list goes on and on. What is even more interesting for the construction sector is that the budget also addresses flood mitigation jobs, like the Sabo Dam project worth 562 million ringgit at 46 locations nationwide to reduce the risk of floods. Another type of flood mitigation project is the additional phase for the integrated river basin at Golok River, Kelantan, worth 500 million ringgit. On top of that, almost 2 billion ringgit has been earmarked to build a dual-purpose reservoir along Klang River to overcome flood problems and as a storage source for water. See? Who says the construction sector lacks news flow based on Budget 2023?
I guess you're right.
Talking about Budget 2023, it's going to be the New Year soon. I know many of you will be thinking about New Year's resolutions, setting new financial goals and stuff like that. And we know it's not easy to plan or achieve it. From November to December, we will be organizing a financial literacy month. There will be free weekly workshops and activities to help you figure out your financial goals, plans, and turn it into actions for 2023. On top of that, when you attend our workshops, you will stand a chance to win some awesome Apple products too. So sign up and reserve a spot for yourself via the link below. Now, back back to our topic. Question 4. Why is Newsflow so important for the construction sector? Typically, construction companies have very little profit margin because they incur a lot of costs on raw materials, heavy machinery, and a big army of workers. The only way to sustain a construction business is to continuously replenish contracts. The bigger, the better.
That's what she said.
To deliver value to shareholders. In other words, the biggest risk for construction companies is the inability to find new jobs in the future. So, every time a construction company backs a new contract, it's a relief to shareholders. This is the reason why construction stock prices are so dependent on news flow. Also, winning a job contract doesn't necessarily mean the company will get the next contract easily. So, most of the time investors assume the latest job award as the last job the company may get. Therefore, there's this popular saying that goes, buy on rumor, sell on fact. That is, to buy a stock when you are fairly confident that the target company you are analyzing may win a contract, and sell the stock once the outcome is known to the public to either cut loss or take profit. Question 5. What construction companies are likely to benefit from Budget 2023? Since I don't have a crystal ball, there's no way for me to know what companies exactly will benefit from Budget 2023. Having said that, analyzing sample companies that are existingly exposed to similar contracts may help us to understand the construction sector better and form an intelligent guess of who might be the possible winners. To illustrate the idea, say for road maintenance contracts, you may have come across a company called Protasco, where part of the group's businesses is to undertake federal road maintenance jobs, mainly in Selangor, Perak, Pahang, Terengganu, and Kelantan. In August this year, the company also clinched a contract to upgrade a section of federal road in Kulim, Kedah. Maybe there's a chance for Protasco to expand their road maintenance service further in the near future?
Maybe.
In Sarawak, one of the incumbent road maintenance companies is CMSB, managing over 3,000 km of state roads. With more than 30,000 km of state roads in Sarawak, the potential for CMSB to manage more road maintenance is quite substantial. Not to forget, the government has placed greater emphasis for Sabah and Sarawak development in Budget 2023. Given that CMSB is also a big cement player in Sarawak, any project would benefit them when contractors choose to buy cement from them for construction works. So there you have it. If BN wins GE15, they will most likely retable the same content for Budget 2023, and since we have done our homework, we will just have to see events unfold based on our intelligent guesses. But if Pakatan Harapan wins the election, it will be up to them to redraft the whole budget all over again. And whatever you just watched just now may just become irrelevant. That's all we have for today. #fuck.